Guys, my name is Brooklyn. It's a pleasure having you here with us today. Is anybody thirsty? When we go back here, just keep in mind we are a real distillery, making real liquor. It's been a weird week already, and it just started where folks think that we really waste a lot of money on copper pots for running fake stuff back here, or just water. I think it's just water coming out. So it is not, okay? That stuff out there rolling out that pipe could start a jet. So alcohol vapors, being said, they're everywhere in the air. If you start to feel a tickle in the back of your throat, cough like a normal human being, God forbid, don't hold that stuff in here. COVID is very hard to exist here, okay? Holes in the ground, they're like yay big. We are currently not running at the moment. They just got done with a run. So therefore, we're going to kind of cross over some other boundaries. We normally don't go. Just be aware of where you're walking in those areas, as there's holes about yay big. That's where we put the dead bodies. You got to have a good, suitable place for that. But it stinks really bad. You fall in that hole, I ain't getting out, okay? Pictures and videos. Have at it. We are hillbillies, not politicians. All that I ask is there's absolutely, for whatever reason, do not put on that flash photography, as it can send a discharge in our distillery, and that means that we would take out half a gallon. So make sure that flash is off. Come back out here, we're going to drink quite a bit, 13 different flavors. So if you planned on staying sober for the whole day, it's not going to happen all the way. Okay? Kind of cut through that road. And please don't forget, you know, my name is not Beyonce. If you decide to go later on TripAdvisor and leave a review, be aware of what you're typing, because it's confusing half of the world when they think they're coming here to meet with somebody like me, but then they read that Beyonce is doing the tours, okay? So that really confuses, because I know it's just uncanny resemblance to each other. One of the things, it's just, you know, just go to TripAdvisor, type in Gatlinburg, Ole Smoky, and type in Beyonce, and they'll show you how many people actually got confused. All right? Other than that, we're going to kind of stick together. That means no twerking, Tide Pod popping, and please don't jump off the dock. And what's happened last week? Oh, don't hug the still, okay? Just because you think it's fake, it still might be 200 degrees. Hey, I'm just saying, we thought, oh, these are adults that are drinking and stuff. Oh, no. There's some children like adults, all right? They're the ones that twerk a lot. We're going to go to this black table first, and don't...
Ain't take you nowhere.
Alright, we're going to go to the black table first. It's entertaining on our end. Secretly, my offer's real. I'll tell you why it's driving me nuts here in a little bit. Alright, so how many of you had our product already? Quite a bit of you? Man, that's intriguing. Who's never had moonshine before, though? I'm going to focus on this group right here a little bit more, just to convert them to the dark side so they can see, okay, what have we been doing for the last 12 years? What have we been drinking? Well, is this everybody's first time to Gatlinburg, though?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, before we get started, I like to put a lot of emphasis on the fact that this is not prohibition in moonshine anymore. A lot of people come in here with the expectation it's going to be like prohibition. It's not. We've come 100 years from back then to modernizing what moonshine was used to be like, okay? Now, what we're using is the same ingredients, the same method, the same type of copper pots. But we've figured out one thing that modern drinkers don't like, and that's the corn odors. They want something relatable to what they've been drinking for all these decades of vodka cocktails. They don't want, you know, strawberry mango corn on the cob kind of thing, you know? So what we're doing is we're running the same ingredients and the same method multiple times through these copper pots to remove those odors out now. And so, like, I kind of like to get that out of the way, because I don't like the comments that go, oh, I've had the real stuff in the backwood. Where the hell do you think this come from? It up 12 years ago, a whole recipe. The people that own this company, they're the Baker family. They grew up here in Gatlinburg for almost 100 years. This is their family recipe. This is our popcorn Sutton story. So they were bootlegging in North Carolina for a long time. And then, you know, here we are trying it again legally. It worked out, right? 100 years, 12 of those years legal. It's working out. Now, there was zero expectations moonshine was ever going to take off here, as we were in the Bible Belt. It was already really frowned upon here, and I definitely, as a local, had no expectations at all that this would ever take off the way it did. Within the first 5 years of us being legal, we become the world's most visited distillery. What that means is that you can take all the distilleries in Scotland, the entire Kentucky Bourbon Trail, add their visitors together, and they don't touch a fraction of the people that are walking through these doors. We get about 5 million come through these doors annually. We have 4 stores. This is 1 out of 4 of them. We're currently working on our 5th. So we're real proud to be here, but dang, is it a shock. Our basic ingredients. The White Lightning. That consists of just 3 things: yellow cracked corn, water, and yeast. Now we are taking that recipe, running it through 6 times, removing the odors out, and that is the base to everything that we make. The White Lightning. I call it pissed off vodka. Now we're going to try one other recipe today called the Blue Flame. That's a whole different breed of drinking. That's kind of closer to a Prohibition style moonshine, as we add about 850 pounds of pure cane sugar to the recipe. What we are trying to do is, back then they would add the sugar to help raise the percentage of alcohol. We're adding it in there to smooth out that 128, because that kills everything. You know, like souls, demons, marriages, UTIs, COVID. I mean, you can pretty much bathe in it. That's a monkeypox cure right there. And so people don't want just to have a plain drop off of a rep once they swallow that shot. In order to do that, you got to just kind of teach the brain that you're not drinking that at first until after you swallow. And you know this by vodka. You know, everybody, how many of y'all take a plain shot of vodka? All right, so we know what it feels like. You know how you get vodka in your mouth, you're about to go and do that shot, and then you get that like 3-second pause where you're giving yourself a pep talk on the inside of your head where you're like, just drink this, you got this, swallow it. Because vodka goes 2 ways, all the way down or all the way back out. And it's because you taste the alcohol, so we're trying to just brainwash you. So the Blue Flame is a special breed. It's called a sugar shiner, also known as a cane spirit, where we're adding heap loads of sugar just to kind of smooth things out. And if you were at home, you would have this sugar to help you raise the percentage of alcohol. Here, we know how to do it without. Now we're adding a bit of barley to that recipe for flavor. We raise it up to 128. And it's about as high as we want it because of the tax bracket issue. Yes, we are becoming viral, but they never forgot about 100 years of what we forgot to the government. So with that being said, we still face a lot of restrictions, and you know, the tax bracket seems to be the last issue where, you know, 128 moonshine and 190 Everclear must be different, right? Both get you drunk, but God forbid we forgot to pay our taxes on that, so they triple our taxes on that end, which makes each jar about $37 for that 128. We tried it one time 2 years ago to go to 153. It was already retailing in liquor stores at 70. So we kind of made a decision, until they're going to ease up, we're not going to go too high, because it's just ripping people off. Corn's not, you know, expensive, and water's definitely everywhere. So, you know, the guys, you ought to smell it. And I know, oh yeah, it's a really awkward smell, but if you think long and hard about it, you're going to remember a moment in your life where you smelled something like this before, and it was not yeast. I'll give you a hint. Everybody kind of knows that yeast breaks down sugar and creates alcohol. But yeast actually creates its own heat source as well. So when you dump your yeast in a corn water mixture, you dump it in your, what I call hillbilly hot tubs, these big old things sprung out all over the floor. The yeast gets going immediately, and it starts breaking down those sugars, in return start making heat on its own. So it can get up to our fermenters about 100 degrees. And that's kind of crazy to me. That's why I nicknamed them the hillbilly hot tubs, because when you're standing near them, you'll lose a couple of pounds just by looking at it. Now, yeast, yes, it does smell awkward. Did anybody smell old Parmesan cheese? No? Yeah. Just bread. I've heard a couple of responses over the years doing this for thousands and thousands, and numbers I can't even count to anymore. But some of my top 3 best responses is yeast smells like a nacho cheese Dorito inside that jar. You can smell that now. Yeah, got that. A guy last week surprised me, and he said, that smells like a nursing home and bad decisions. Okay. I've never been to that kind of nursing home. Well, response ever in this, out of many millions of people doing this as a career. Little old lady last month, and she was like every bit of it in her late 80s. I can't remember her name, but she was real quiet. She made a comment about the yeast. She said, that was my fart on the elevator ride up. What? Yeah, yeast, everybody smells something different with the yeast. Now the cool thing about our company is we're still tapped into that mountain spring, we're still true to our roots. The only thing different about it is that it's going to go to the city where they do the reverse osmosis, all that good stuff. And we're doing a deionizing, which means they're stripping out everything that's in that water that could ever go in through their lines. We're having it clean, as clean as we possibly can. The guys, this next one, I just want you to kind of smell it, but please don't snort it. All right. This is 170 proof. I call this a jar metal therapy. When you just don't even need to drink it, you just take a whiff and already know that whatever problems you may have lingering inside that brain, you're still human. You'll know when to stop breathing. It's going to touch somebody's soul. It smells like a bad drunken.
It's in your brain, you can feel it.
Oh, yeah. We got plenty of other things that are like adult juice that can get you 50 shades of wasted. And by the end of a jar, like, why would you want that kind of regret anymore? Well, guys, we're going to kind of mosey on down here to the other side of those pasture lines. Trying to do the math in my head. 1,500 pounds of corn, and we dump it in that, and then we just fill it up with the ionized water and let it cook for a few hours at about 185 degrees. Once the corn and the water are cooked, we're absorbing those like natural sugars coming out of there, you know what I mean? Collecting all of it, getting the yeast ready, and we're going to pump it to these fermenters. At that point, we've already reactivated our yeast and gotten it real crazy for all the sugar it's about to absorb, and then we dump it in the fermenter. And it waits about 24 hours. You're going to start seeing some real intense activity. It's my favorite part. You'll see why in a little bit. After about 3 to 5 days, that's about the longest it takes to get this done. 3 days for the white lightning to ferment, 5 days for the blue flame. But basically what we're going to do is once we're fermenting for about 3 to 5 days, you're going to tell a big difference in the first day and the end of the day. Your first part of the day, you know, your first day or two, it's real sweet. It's got a lot of activity where you look like it's boiling on the inside. None of that's boiling, it's just the yeast breaking down the sugar, and that's the reaction. But by the 5th day, things have changed. It's not sweet smelling anymore. It doesn't look like an oatmeal. It kind of turns sourish. That's an indication it's ready to run, especially when you see some of that evaporation. You're going to see a ring around the fermenter where it's dropped a little bit. Those fumes have evaporated out of it. Now, after the 5th day, we're going to pump it into our still. This is called our stripper run right here. Its only job is to separate your vapors from your solids. That's it. So in order to do that, we heat it up to 200 degrees that allows the vapors to slowly start separating from the solids. And you're going to see some rivets over there on that still. All right. To tell you about a little map while we're going through this. These are 750-gallon fermenters. We'll only maybe be able to convert about 120 to 150 gallons of what we're doing right now. Basically, like, if you're at home, you can take your mash out of your still, pump it back in your fermenter, go again if you're at home. As a company, you would notice it as a different flavor profile. So next time you bought a jar that was ran on the second run, you're going to be like, well, that don't taste right. That's definitely different than what I bought last time. So as a company, we just neutralize the yeast, drain all the low-proof alcohol off the end of the mash, and donate all of it to the local farmers here in our area. We just give it away for free. Basically, they use it as a filler feed, and it makes the cows real fat. They love it. And we're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons of mash just given away. So we did it so well, each one of our stores does the same thing. Give it all the way to the local farmers. We're getting most of these distillers in this area. They're doing the same thing. Before you know it, farmers are going to have it easy a little, especially during those winter months when they're relying on other things to supply the food to the cattle. So now I'm not saying they're running a couple tipsy cows. We're learning. Okay, we learned a lot. We actually figured out a product called potassium sorbate, which neutralizes the yeast, drain all that low proof, and now we can get it to less than 1% of liquor inside a big old tub. That ain't gonna do nothing to big old cow. So we figured it out. It was a hard stretch, but they like food too. When you think about converted vapor, and now you think, okay, you got this big old hot tub amount of liquor, putting it in there, you're going to pull off just a little bit of vapor. And what we're going to do is once it heats up to 200 degrees and that vapor rises, it's going to drop in your thumper keg, which is the middle keg right there. That's also known as a puke keg back in the day. Sometimes those solids, you got an open flame, sometimes those solids kind of splatter over to the next area. If you didn't have the thumper keg there in the middle, your solids are going to get in that coil, especially if it didn't exist. If that thumper keg never existed, those two lines like this tied together, some of your solids are going to get in your coil. Well, that's like an oatmeal, and you're still here real soon. You're gonna be like, oh man, that's like oatmeal. It's going to clog these pipes, build pressure, and blow up on you. Or other issues are going to happen, like solids spewing out with the vapor. Everything's ruined. So the thumper keg kind of acts as a second line of defense, really. Collects some of those solids. Your vapor can bypass all of that and leave freely. All you want is the vapor. Once you get here to the coil, your vapor is going to travel around, and that's where we take that coil and submerge in a pool of cold water, constantly circulating over 6.5 hours. It allows those vapors to cool off and turn back into a liquid. Now, we got to separate the first initial couple of gallons. That's your methanol, ethanol, and acetone. And when it goes to the gas station, take a shot out of the pumps anymore, do they? It's because it's expensive. I don't know why. Basically back in the day, people started developing a saying where moonshine made to go blind. It wasn't the moonshine. It was the fact that somebody rushed that moonshine and left a little bit of methanol or acetones in it. And over a long winter, somebody was drinking on that moonshine. Before you know it, they're having some health issues that are serious. Well, it'd be like taking a shot out of the gas pumps. You're going to get pretty sick real quick. So we dump about 3 gallons worth in a barrel like this, and we're going to pump it into another run. It's going to help the next run. It's not good for us to drink, but it's good for the next run. Help with a little bit of resistance, a little bit of gallon output on that next run. Now, about 120 gallons after that are our hearts. We collect all of it. That's good liquor. That runs the majority of that 6 hours. And at the very end is the tails that kind of, when you start a run, and it's obnoxious high crude. Like 160, 170. And it trickles downward over that 6.5 hours until you get to about 92. We cut off under 92 proof is tails. It's not quality for you to drink as far as like what we want as standards for you to remember, but it's good enough to pump it in the next run and give it a little extra 20 gallons or so. Now, one run and done. If you want to remove the odors, we do a rectifying run, which means we're going to run into a smaller still multiple times. Every time you do a run, you chip away little bits of water, raise the proof, make it clear and super odorless. Makes sense? About 300,000 gallons a year. That is a lot. And we're just at the baby stages of this company where we're trying to establish the moonshine footwork of everything. So just give us next year. We're working on a facility the size of a few Walmarts, and it's going to put some Jack Daniels to shame. So we finally got that approval and make it. Back in the day when we first started, they did not like us at all rolling in here. So whatever came out of that spout had to be bottled, blended, infused, everything on site, labeled and all. Couldn't go anywhere, no wholesale, no grocery stores, nothing. For a couple of years of paying this, it finally eased up some situations for us. Now they're saying, oh, you can do whatever you want. So we're working on it real quickly. Instead of having 1,000 gallons still, we're going to have about multiples of 5,000 gallon stills. Instead of having 750 gallon fermenters, we're going to have 2,500 gallon fermenters. And it's 100 acres of land we're renovating. So it's a ton of property that we got to get through. And it's about 45 minutes outside. We decided as a company that instead of establishing it here in Gatlinburg, where it's already a thriving area, obviously the revenue here is amazing, we decided to find the poorest town of East Tennessee that people gave up on. You know, the ones that you hear about, the ones that have low funding, everything's busted out, old buildings. And we decided to buy one of their messed up factory areas and renovate that. Try to give them good jobs back in a couple of years. So we're working on that. So if it looks like oatmeal on top, that is the sugar shine. That's the cane spirit. If it looks like a hot soupy mess, that is 100% corn right now. You don't belong. Get out of there. Let's run it. Because there's no better filtration than distillation. Nothing is going to survive that copper pot 200 times, multiple times in a row.
Explain alcohol.
Holy hell. It was real funny because when we first started this, the town itself of Gatlinburg. So you got 3 towns that are all in one county, Sevierville, Hinchinburg, and Gatlinburg. Well, Gatlinburg itself, we're dry. Okay, and we rolled in, they were really upset because they had a lot of control over what's going on in Gatlinburg. We established our building, everything was great the first few years, and then other businesses started popping up with liquor everywhere in the county. So then Gatlinburg was like, hold up, you realize you can walk up and down literally half of a mile of a road and have like 20 shots and not pay a buck? No. Because back then, nobody had any rules on moonshine, so we were all offering free tastings like that. Until the city was like, we only have a little small jail that has 2 drunk tanks. We can't control this situation. We're going to build a new jail because of this. So with that being said, we had to figure out how to control it. But I remember the first time I worked here, and we started getting introduced to the flavors. So we only had the one flavor, white lightning at first. So as we started popping out these flavors, things started getting messy, real messy. Jars getting pulled on the overalls, all sorts of stuff. I remember I went home one day, my first month here, and I got pulled over because my little light that's on your tag, where your tag is, went out, and the cop was behind me. That's fine. He pulled me over and said, hey, I was watching, I was behind you, the light went out, you know, you might want to go get that looked at. Well, the subtle hint of alcohol floated in the air. I seen his face, he was like, oh, and I was like, whoa. I said, I work for Ole Smoky. He's like, huh? I was like, I work for Ole Smoky. I'm sorry, I have a lot of liquor. Of course, get out of the car, blah, blah, blah. Checked everything. I hadn't had one jar in there because he thought that I was a drinker. I just poured like 3 jars on me that day. So I reeked of liquor real bad, like I just walked out of a keg or something. It was terrible. And so, of course, the police officer, he got to do his job and everything, but on the side of the road, he's giving breathalyzer. I'm like, I swear, I ain't drank nothing today. And it don't smell like it today. I had a bad day where I dropped the jar all over the front. It was the Blue Flame. It stunk so bad. It's bad. But now they don't even pull anybody over. If you're Ole Smoky, they don't even bother with you. You can do all sorts of fun stuff. COVID really got to change things for us because we got to donate all of that liquor that we were making into hand sanitizer, give it away for free for the entire county. So we really saved some butts. There you are.
Thank you.
So it's been an unusual moment. All right. I bet you can't guess what I did before this thing. That's what makes it really interesting. You don't have to like it, but you're going to appreciate it. You don't have to take the full shot, but I'm going to treat you like your mama did, and you're going to try it dry. At least know what in the world. Don't be scared of life. Live it. So therefore, this is the Blue Flame. Yes, it does hurt. It's only going to burn right here. The cool thing about this is that it doesn't really burn right here. Until after you swallow, you get all of it. But the cool thing about the Blue Flame is that it fades quickly. Like within 5 or 6 seconds. That burns kind of definitely disappears. All right, one rule, do not share your shots with anybody. With that being said, I am not a math major. What goes in your cup goes in your gut. Okay, my gut. This is my last tour and I'm driving home. I'm playing 2 hours. You only want a little lick. Just tell me I'm putting a lick, okay? Other than that, you ready to holler slower? I'll tell you this flavor. I'm going to go ahead and give you a good idea of what this flavor is. Figured it out over all of these years that we've done. Basically, we took Ric Flair and busted him like a can of biscuits and squeezed all that woo out. So after you end the shot, if you feel like that woo's coming on out, just let it go. You know, I'm going to show you what not to do. Yeah? Put it back in for support. I don't want it. You're going to get 15 players in this, okay? And you're going to breathe like every normal human being on this earth breathes. Don't hold that hell in, okay? It's going to feel like this. It'll have flavor. Ready? This is good. Just shoot it down. I promise you're like, oh, okay. After about 6 seconds. Shoot back. I know it's something special, isn't it? I know. All right, so you do not go to that in your refrigerator to say, I'm drinking today. Okay? This is a jar of mental therapy. It helps PTSD and all sorts of other stuff that you might be sick, all that good stuff. Okay? Our next one's going to wash it all down. I'll quickly tell you what it is. It is margarita at 40 proof. This is now going to taste like an adult Gatorade. So I'm saying, like, dehydrated. Except there's no metal handcuffs with this one. It's just a fuzzy case.
Thank you.
Here you go. So, and I'll tell you, if you're looking to buy something, you got that friend that says, oh man, I only drink high proof. This is a fun one for them because this will survive an apocalypse. So it don't matter if it was COVID, zombies, whatever else they got next to us. This is the next form of currency as well. So hold on to this kind of stuff because if the world ends, disinfect, light things up, you know, get lit. This is it, okay? Strawberry mango margarita. Now this one's a little different than the original margarita. This creates the active baby making without making additional babies. So just kind of, when you're drinking this, don't be alarmed that you're going to pop out some kids 9 months later. Just let one up, okay? It's fun to play with if you like sugar martinis or anything like that. No, you can make popsicles with this. There you go.
Will it actually freeze?
Not the way it is now. It will slushy at this proof, but to get it to freeze, and we're going to go over some fun stuff. I dilute it with Crystal Lights, half and half. Dilute it down, and I'll tell you why here in just a second. Next one is limoncello. This is brand new. This is modeled after the idea and concept of lemon head cheese. This is our third attempt on something lemon-like. We're just looking for the perfect kind of flavor profile where we don't want it to taste like pine salt. And I think we got it. We just released this 2 weeks ago. I think this is the one. It's all about that proof. We're using natural ingredients, so it's all about the proof. If it's a natural ingredient and you go too high on that proof, you are going to ruin that flavor profile. But if you stay low to a point where that proof is not good, like apple pie, it can go high. I like this flavor. I think it's cool to make all sorts of fun cocktails with this. That seals the deal right here. A couple years ago, we caught wind that we could take malic acid, which is the same coating on a warhead or a Sour Patch Kid that makes you pop. We took that component and decided, well, let's infuse it into some juice, take that juice ratio and dilute the liquor with it. What we created was little mini versions of warheads and Jolly Ranchers and all sorts of fun stuff. So this is kind of where things get fun. The first one we're going to do is sour watermelon. There's not a big pucker effect on this one, just kind of like, oh, getting in trouble tonight. You're going to see. Lock this one up. I got a personal pillow right next to my toilet and my porcelain over there by the bathroom. And we figured out along, a lot of vodka companies, they like the race of proof. They feel like that's what entices people. It's truly not. If you can drink this, you're not gonna have any regret unless you chug it. Don't chug it. I chug it. Don't chug it. I feel like I used to be a nurse. I did that stuff to my body. I was educated in knowing what could happen if I do. Yeah. So I tried it. I chugged it just to see how quickly somebody could black out at my size. I got pretty close to the end. I was sitting on the couch and then I stood up, and that was my first mistake. The moment I stood up, I literally planked on the floor and smashed down. I had a group of people with me watching me while I do it to make sure that I didn't need my stomach pump or something. But yeah, it's intense. I got drunk in 30 minutes. It's incredible. Wasted a whole dang day. And I wouldn't even get to be drunk. I didn't even feel it until after I woke up. I was still wasted 5 hours later. So there was that. All right, so the next two are different in that malic acid levels. The first one we're going to do is equivalent to a liquid warhead. So this has got enough malic acid that you're going to pucker on the other end as well. Sometimes. You can just warn people that. Because you clench your butt cheeks too hard, you'll know why. This has got just a tad bit of Windex in it. I do a diet can of Mountain Dew and 2 shots. You got my blast. My blast. Here you are. You remember back when you were younger and maybe you did this for your kids as well when they were younger during trick or treat? You got the little apple sucker that was dipped in caramel. And the first thing that was either told to you or you told to your child, don't eat this one because it's going to break your teeth and get stuck, braces and all that. And you secretly went up to your bedroom and had your first stroke at 9 when you clamped down on it thinking you could bite through it, and then you realized that, oh my God, what have I done? That moment. We've all had that experience. That's the moment. So this is for the ones that love apple teenies, or like a little caramel apple kind of. It looked like she wanted to throw a hairbrush at my face. Later did I realize that's a pretty dang expensive fix. Thing that I love doing, we talked about popsicles a little bit ago. These 40 proofs, they are so fun in ways that other than just pour it in a cup. Basically, you can take a half a cup of this and a half a cup of like a juice related type thing, like a Crystal Light I use a lot, Sprite, dilute some down. Make a cup work. That molds into ice cubes, which in return will change your next cocktail into a really water kind of thing. As you're drinking your cocktail, those ice cubes are melting and changing the flavor of your drink, like a gobstopper. But that same ratio does apply to popsicle molds for the kids. They need a break, guys. They need a break. This is kind of like a wine, but it's more compatible than a wine to your everyday drinking, like sweet teas, lemonades, and Sprites. So we nicknamed this one the Blackout Berry because of what it can do to somebody. This is for the person that says, oh, I wish I could be wasted, but I hate the taste of alcohol. That's fine, I'll put it in your sweet tea, honey. You won't taste nothing then. So this is a 40 proof, and yes, it's fitting for these cups. Here in the holler, we have a saying that we're either going to sip our sins away or start some prayers. There you go. Our next one is my favorite.
Your favorite?
Everything in the whole world. This is going to taste like the bottom of your grandmother's purse. Minus the lint and everything down in there. You're going to find a ton of wonderful Werther's Originals. That's what we got done.
What is that?
This is a 60 proof, what I call dessert whiskey, where we just age it for a couple of years, lower the proof down just a little bit, and try to entice people back into whiskey realm. It's kind of a dying thing right now. You know, not a lot of your younger generations can appreciate an oak barrel, so we're trying to bring them back. Now, this is good for coffee shots and body shots. So, kind of judge the situation. You never know what's going to happen.
What is that?
Salted caramel whiskey.
What is
All right, so as you can tell, that's great in coffee, iced coffees, hot chocolates.
cereal?
That's cereal.
Yeah.
Yes. I could roll out of bed at 5 and be completely fired by 9.
A bowl of cereal.
This guy likes to put the salted caramel. What do you do with that thing? Put the salted caramel. What? Brownie? Brownie. He does brownies with it. As you can tell, we eat very healthy. You don't get the sexy and pair overall start with grass on the ground. So here we are, rolling indeed. This is also good to marinate with if you're a cooking connoisseur and you want to like use this. You know, it's more than just apples and spice and everything nice. This is 70 proof, and if you have PTSD from Fireball, I'm extremely sorry, but I'm warning you ahead of time. This is Fireball's daddy. Apple and the cinnamon mix well together. Kind of makes it better to drink. But yes, more than just apples and spice. This is the Blooded Jolly Party, Liberty Bells, block parties from the 80s when all things were great and we never complained about crap. Well, at least we didn't have social media to broadcast the stuff we work and play. We just dealt with it like a normal human. There you are. Proof of something like that is definitely medicinal. That is natural cinnamon. Feel free to drink it with hot tea and apple ciders. That's one of my favorite ways to drink it because it soothes your throat after screaming all day long. Helps kind of flush out stuff that, sweating and flu-like symptoms. So, French vanilla ice cream dough, drizzle. You won't regret it. Just the drizzle. There's a picture on TripAdvisor where it's like a looked like a hot mess of soup in a bowl. And they said, if this doesn't look right, sent a picture online about it. I'm like, I said drizzle, not capital. So, I also like marinating with this one as well. 35 proof. We're lowered it all the way down underneath the point of curdling. So that you can drink this all by itself if you have a stomach of steel and you don't get affected by dairy. These are good, just blend it up with ice like a frappuccino. We call it being lit here in the holiday. It feels better when you're drinking a smoothie and you know it's got some alcohol.
Okay.
So the first one we're going to do is key lime cream. What color do you expect it to be? I mean, it would have been any other color might have been weird. So I took a cup of this and a cup of ice, and then I crushed it. Pudding shots. Pudding calls for 2 cups of milk, folks. Milk. It's nothing else. It's awesome to eat more alcohol. Y'all go ahead and take a shot. This ain't gonna taste like liquor at all.
Thank you.
This is our pina colada cream. You're going to use this with our pineapples. You can just blend it up, put it in your coffee. It goes well with chocolate. Keep that in mind. And it's going to taste kind of like an almond drink.
No pedo.
There you go. Now, coffee with this is amazing.
Thank you.
Extra shot. What do you think of that?
You should make a mojito flavor.
Oh, we did. We made the mistake though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we was trying to get on a health kick and we decided to go with cucumber mojito a couple of years ago, play some flavors together. Well, it's like drinking a sweet salad. It doesn't work. We should have just left it alone, just let it play mojito. I watched this man want to return some mozzarella sticks because they put up the parsley on it, and he was insulted and attacked.
Who does that? There is no value whatsoever in parsley. Especially at a place like Dick's. What are you trying to do? Class it up? I mean,
So guys, our last flavor is butter pecan. Now this is a flavor you already know, it's ice cream. But how many of y'all had buttery nipple shots? Okay. How many of y'all like that salted caramel whiskey? Alright, so we found that flavor profile within our own ingredients. And it's 1 shot of the salted caramel, 1 shot of that butter pecan. Except please don't go soliciting buttery nipples. Well, I don't want no kind of cease and desist letter. We call these nuts instead. It's suitable, salty nuts. And, you know, it's a good replacement if you can't make the shot. But this is butter pecan. So this is really good in your coffee. I don't know what y'all do for a living, but have a good day. Nobody's ever going to look in your Starbucks cup and wonder if you're drinking. You like that one a lot? Have you picked a favorite? You don't know yet? Quite a bit of them. Oops. Guys, the only thing you did not try today were our edibles. These are really, really good, but there are some different fruits out there. So pickles and cherries, they're different fruit. Read the jar. Pickles are 40. Cherries are 100. That's a whole different chew, okay? So I don't want you to go buy the cherries and just assume that it's going to be a mild approach to eating those cherries.
well, but really what you can do, and I just learned this recently, I drink quick because the fruits are different. When you start out your cup with the butter pecan, and then you get a little bit of that cherry juice on top, just like a sundae in a cup, man, right there. You get that cherry topping, good stuff. Go do it.
I remember that now. I was thinking,
So good.
yeah, it actually was pretty good. It's like, here, come here and drop a cherry in the butter pecan. I'm like, I don't like these.
We experiment. Anytime, here's life lesson number one. If you ever have a job and you can drink on the job and call it research and development, keep that job, okay? All right, you're going to pay for yourself in liquor.
Well, let me tell you something else they had to do in replace of all that. They're offering to pay for our gym memberships too. So I wonder what happened.
Nobody took it. Everybody, why the hell we offering it? Ain't nobody taking it, you know?
We work off the tips and commission. I am saving up for some beer and cigarettes for my 12-year-old. He obviously needs a lot of it, and now that I know that there's other families struggling the same way I am, thank you for making me feel better about
Y'all want to see
son.
your son, you'll see him on Cops Gatlinburg edition in a few years. Oh, you're not doing that one first. Hell no. Come here. No, give up that. There you go.
Oh, he didn't even say this part of the last name. He only said,
I'm going to tell you. Use your words.
thank God there's no rolling R's in this because I can't do it.
Roll,
Lanusa? Lanusa?
Lanusa. Yeah, you're right. Lanusa. Yeah.
Lanusa. See?
Where the hell did you get an R?
The rolling R's. I said, thank God there was no rolling R's in it. Like, having to roll your R's. I know it. I'm gonna go into cardiac arrest.
This is why you
later.
should stay off drugs, ladies and gentlemen, right
Oh
here.
my gosh.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Else will be lurking around for just a second.
Thank you.
Until then,
And if you look at your shirts and you need a different size, let us know. We can take care of that too. All right. There you go. Woo! Drunk guy in the corner is clapping before you bear knowledge.
Viajeros, como siempre, muchas gracias por ver este video. Si no se han suscrito, suscríbanse al canal, den un like si les ha gustado y compartan con los viajeros a quienes pueda servir esta información.